All right, people. So before we go on next week for the next mystery, I wanted to knock this out. The summary to the white icicle lodge with the white wolf. We want to get the summary out of the way. It's only a page, and I want to just kind of summarize it, kind of get the points, and then I'll go into like a small little review at the end. Um, I'm gonna probably say this is a contender for the worst game, in my opinion. Um, I can actually get into that also at the very end of the thing, but I'm gonna say this is probably one of the things that maybe not feel in the environment as much as some of the others. But anyways, so we are Nancy Drew called upon yet again to another place, but this time it is Icicle Creek Lodge in the Rockies of Alberta, Canada. The lodge's owner, Chantel, was recommended us, Nancy, by Bet and Ed Rawling from Shadow Ranch. My favorite game. Well, it kind of goes along with the Haunted Carousel. Um, but so they have a lot of connections to Shadow Ranch. They're trying to connect, kind of redo that in this game. So the lodge has had many accidents, like a family had gotten poisoned, food poisoning. A man had slipped on some icy stairs, and a gas leak in the sauna, making a couple leave. And then while you were trying to deal with all these events, while Chantel is dealing with all these events, she goes gets it legally, trying to get it legally dealt with. Her handyman Ollie packs you up and moves you to the lodge. Basically, we're working undercover as a maid. Um, that's a very big part of my review. But anyways, we're kind of avoid Nancy's kind of part of things for the most part. But straight out of the way, Ollie and Chantel is mostly like, hey, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. She brings in the guy from that one officer. He's the hot shot who was kind of just at the right place at the right time to get famous, and he basically doesn't really have the good tellings of a good cop. But he does get. He's from the train, the Blue Moon Canyon train, I think it is. And it was like a train that was the key to a whole bunch of other stuff. Um, the officer from that is mentioned here. Um, there's a lot of connections in a lot of the games, but that's kind of sidelining them. He does the officer does some stupid like chart thing, but Ollie himself isn't really that obvious, like big of a conversation piece. I never felt like he was a culprit. He is known for trying to hunt the wolf, who, very similar to the horse from Shadow Ranch, is getting blamed for all these things happening. The poor little puppers. I did get an emotional connection with this wolf because it's such a good girl or boy. I forgot what it was, but anyways, it is hunting the wolf. Very similar to the Shadow Ranch. It's getting blamed for all the mishappenings. So it's kind of like a bad luck charm. Is basically what they're blaming it on, which no nature should be blamed on that. If anything, that is something you should avoid and run for the hills. Um, Instead of hunting for it. But Ollie isn't a very big character, else than like some money motives for him being a culprit. But this is his job, so it's kind of like you don't want to lose your job either. Else in like some personal issues, I think he's like divorced and he's fighting over his um, ex-wife or wife about their daughter. Who Freddie, the daughter, same thing with her father, really isn't existent. She's more there to provide you a mini game, and on top of that, give you a function, which I don't ever use this function. Like she uses it as like a scrapbook piece, but like I think it's to prolong your investigation on the snow, but really I don't last. I'm not like sitting there waiting for it to kind of like what's a good thing to say. I wasn't letting it build up and drain my warmth. Her heat packs. She was giving us heat packs, and it's kind of just like I ran from one point to the next, and I got warmed up pretty quickly. So it's like I really didn't need to worry about that much. So yeah, it's just Ollie, Elston, some small stuff to make him a culprit. I just never felt like he was like a possible contender. His daughter, of course, just giving you a function that I personally never used. Um, Going into the other guest, starting with Guadalupe, I think it is. She's basically like the nature protect the animals and all that, and she's a part of a group that is trying to relocate the wolf into a sanctuary to like protect it. Um, which the wolf does get into that sanctuary for safety. They don't think it's going to be returned to the wild, sadly, which at least the wolf is treated like a good puppers. Um, but she like Elson like maybe the hunting of the wolf, but yeah, that's also kind of like that's not a good reason. So yet again, not to mention she gets kicked out by Ollie for messing with his rifle, which I don't remember if it is her, but there's a high chance it was her. Um, but it's kind of like she's not there. Why would she use the wolf in danger in the first place? Um, and then there's Lou, a college student. He's like basically looking for fossils that'll come up later on. Yanni, who's like a pro skier, he's practicing for an upcoming event. Who thinks one of his competitors are coming for him, and is causing all this stuff to happen by trying to sabotage him. So he's very like cautious about people. Finally, there is Bill Kessler, who straight up at one point was my biggest culprit because he's the grandson. Well, his grandmother was the owner of the lodge, and he kind of knows the in and outs of the building. But yet he's very like out. Like once you have like the first two conversations with him about the issue, he like comes very clean with it very quickly, and it's just like so. What? Who do I have left? So it's like Galoop is out, Ollie's out, Freddy's out. You're really taking out a lot of the possibilities here. Um, and then now you're like basically saying, all right, here's all your stuff. Like he might pull something like in a previous mystery we did have someone being the nice person giving us the up and down stuff of these. Do I need one of these? Oh yeah. I did need one of these. Where was it? Oh come on! I know it's around here somewhere. Um, Sorry, Dokkan stuff. Trying to think. Oh yeah, they played nice, gave her some clues, but in the end they were the one. But it's like it was just like he was like giving up, and it was like very I exist here kind of. So it's just like Yanni. I'm gonna say it. It's Yanni, dude. Um, Anyways, with him knowing some of the secrets, beside the wolf, we go into the mystery of Trapper Dan, who's the maker of the secrets in the lodge and the tunnels that are connected to a shed. And I think it's Avalanche Hills or whatever. It's a very like snowed in area. You need snowshoes to get through to avoid an avalanche and stuff. Um, and as we investigate, we learn about a Julius McGord, I think it is, who lived in that shack that's connected to the tunnels. Um, it has trained our puppers, Isis, to solve these puzzles laid down by Dan. And with the right instruction, she can solve those puzzles. So sadly, Julius, we do learn, does pass away in the hospital, probably due to like weather conditions and other things. Because it looks like they were like very barely getting by in that shack. Um, and then a lot of the guests do add to the problem and does make it very like a scribble of a mystery. Like Guadalupe's over here, like possibly messing with the rifle to save the wolf. Um, there's Kessler who's attached to the lodge, so he's trying to kind of like do something about it because he's got he feels an emotional connection to it. There's Lou who's out for himself, which straight up because he's going for fossils, he steals the fossil or the like I think it was a T-Rex bone from the lodge and tries to sell it, but he gets caught. Yet another person that I didn't mention, but he leaves after he gets caught. And it doesn't feel like fossils are a good enough reason for what's happening. And there's just like Ollie, he's a handyman with a daughter that's working there. There's no reason for him to be there. So it's just like, it's so obviously Yanni. Once his like very like what's it called? Like when you are so I'm trying to remember what the word is. When you feel like you're being watched or something, you become overly cautious for no reason. He gets an anxiety attack is basically what it feels like. So it's like you wouldn't be just sitting here taking this. You'd go and say something. So yeah, in the end, Yanni is getting cautious because he was trying to smuggle uranium for his country. So yeah, it's just like straight up the mystery. Like at first, it feels very like, ooh, how nice, another Shadow Ranch kind of mystery. I can see the connections. I kind of like it. And then like just one after the other, the culprits become so small that it's just like I know who it is. Um, and like for the most part, a lot of the puzzles were okay, except for that second to last video. Well, yeah, second to last video of the Rage game. I basically, I cursed that entire video because it was so. They basically turned it on a chest AI on me to make sure this part of the game was so hard. You had to win 4 times in 4 different ways. With trying to like hide one piece. The second I made one little mistake, oops, I lost. It was so stupid, man. That was probably my biggest issue with like an obvious part. I liked there was like a mine mini game with like the skating rink where you had to like uncover areas and make sure you didn't get the thinnest parts. There was also the mini game with the snowball fight with Freddy. A lot of these things were like pretty nice. It was nice to have. It's just that chess game was probably the worst of the stuff, or whatever it's called. Just having that one little animal run around the entire board as there's an army trying to corner it. I guess it is like a brain teaser kind of game, which, at first I liked it when it was not to continue the game. If it was just a side game, I would have loved it, but it's just the fact that you need to do this, and, Kessler is on like a professional level, so you're not winning at all unless you force him. You better break his thumb to make sure he doesn't move a piece. I think the 2 biggest issues with this game, one, straight up, I'm gonna start saying this at the beginning of every mystery now. I have to go through walkthroughs, so I try my best to get through the game without having to depend on any outsource like comments or walkthroughs or anything. But once I start like, okay, what I'm supposed to do now, because the checklist doesn't help, the notes don't help. You try to call for like a hint, and half the time they don't give you one, or it's just so like umbrella matter that you can't really pinpoint where you're supposed to go after that. It's a directional issue. And then like another issue that I had, especially with that kind of particular point, was there was the imprint of the T-Rex bone that Lou takes in the shack, and if you don't identify that imprint, you cannot ask what the checklist is asking you to do. There is a checklist point saying you need to ask Lou about the missing dinosaur bone, which we know at this point is in his possession, but we cannot ask him, even though that Nancy has noted that he has had it, until we go and find out. Like, we literally put our hand in the imprint and be like, oh, this is definitely this bone that I saw earlier. And it, like, the fact that you have to interact with certain things to make an action happen. I understand picking something up or solving a puzzle, but if it's literally identifying something, it does not need to go that bad. The biggest thing, straight up the biggest thing that took me out of this game, I normally love the environment of every single Nancy Drew game, including Blackmore Manor. I really liked Blackmore Manor's thing. That's the one that's contending with the worst. But the issue with Blackmore Manor was the reading. The reading basically was like, okay, you're going to have to take a break from the game and read this book over and over again to find little clues to figure out puzzles and places to go. Where in this game, there is the maid services. The fact that I'm here to help. I would like to help you. Out of the kindness of my own heart and my credibility, I will come. I'm going to need you to be my maid for free. What? I didn't sign up for that. That is not why I play Nancy Drew games. The constant schedule of you need to make breakfast, you need to make lunch, you need to make dinner, you need to go clean people's things. Like, yes, I understand the, like, cleaning out the people's rooms, which a maid would do, to collect evidence, be in there, have a reason to be inside their rooms. Completely understandable. However, the breakfast, lunch, and dinner is the worst part of it. It's just like, if I'm trying to go learn something when there is the issue with the outside is because this is a cold environment, you only have a certain time before you need to be inside the lodge. Or like sometimes even like the dial shows that it's too cold for Nancy to go out. Or it's just like she can go out, but it is so cold that it would probably give me a game over if I went to try to get to the shed, which is the furthest point in the game. You would, yes, you would need the heat pads, but the issue is, it's not that was happening, but the points that were decent enough to go is when I need to go do this event, and it breaks away from my immersion of the game. And it's just like, all right, I know you're trying to solve a mystery, but I need you to do this task daily. And like, the issue is that, like, it is a timed game. You can, like, you'll be here for possible weeks before you actually get anything done. And it doesn't feel like that would be correct, because I feel like a lot of these guests would be leaving, because they only have a certain amount of vacation days, they only have a reason to be here for something. People would be suspicious if they stayed around for weeks upon weeks, versus us who's an employee. So it's just like, it doesn't, unlike, I really loved the final scene, the fifth mystery, where you have 3 days to find your friend in that shutting down theater. And it only advances time when you do stuff. that is what I loved about that game. Because, well, yes, I do like the fact that I'm immersed in this thing. I'm doing stuff that would require me to have particular access to certain things. But the fact that if I need to redo a day to get into a certain time frame so that this person is here and that person is there and I need to talk to this person at this time, I missed my window to go outside. The maid services made it so where it's just like I can't enjoy being a detective right now. I'm trying to solve mysteries and puzzles and other stuff and trying to like talk to these other people, and you push push me into the kitchen all the time. And the biggest issue that I found is like you can't ignore it, because I accidentally didn't understand the alarm clock function in this one. Instead of like a digital clock, it's one you actually gotta wind. Um, and I accidentally overslept, and I missed one of the meals, and Chantel calls. You do that again, you get fired. It's like, I'm not here to be your maid in the first place. I'm here to deal with your mystery. If I can't do something, and if I'm not in there for the next few minutes, your handyman, who you actually pay, needs to be in there. I'm a freelance who doesn't even get paid. She doesn't. She does not give a clear indication that none of these people she's solving mysteries for pays her. I mean, of course, I'm betting someone stopping a smuggling case for uranium would get some kind of compensation, but yet it's just like this game just knocks it out of the park in terms of just like I don't need this function. And also, it's just kind of like a lot of things are unnecessarily necessary. I don't need to talk to that person. I don't need to talk to this. A lot of these people can be scrapped, or like a lot of their dialogue can be scrapped. I mean, of course, it is nice to just talk to these people and get to know them, but it is not very like fun when I have to get out of the way and do this repetitive darn task. So let's see. So we are finishing the White Wolf of Icicle Creek. This is mystery number 16. There's also, so I'm gonna say this is one of the bottom ones. There's also Kapu Cave, Danger by Design, Blue Moon Canyon, the train, Secret of the Old Clock, Curse of Blackmore Manor. The other one that will be in the bottom. So there's two at the bottom, Blackmore Manor and this one. Secret of the Shadow Ranch, one of my tops. Danger on Deception Island and Haunted Carousel, second top. Ghost Dogs at Blue Moon Lake, Secret of the Scarlet Hand, The Final Scene, Treasure at the Royal Tower, Message in the Haunted Mansion. Stay tuned for Danger. I did not play yet. I really want to play. And we did the remaster of Secrets Can Kill. I still need to play the original because there is I need to find out how to play the original because I'm pretty sure there's a difference in the two games. I feel like I missed one. Oh yeah, Danger by Design. That's the one I was thinking of. So I'd say Haunted Carousel and the Shadow Ranch are two of my top. Then going down, I think are some of the originals. I really liked Message in a Haunted Mansion, Treasure of the Royal. Actually, it would go the final scene, Message in a Haunted Mansion. Actually, no, Treasure in the Royal Tower, Haunted Message in the Haunted Mansion, Secret of the Scarlet Hand. Those ones are classics to me. Those ones are like the Nancy Drew games. That is what makes me like. That is the first images in my head is the purple towers and the medallions and stuff. That is what I first think of when I think of these games. Then I think the Ghost Dogs at Moon Lake would be the next one because that is such a fascinating story of like an outlaw and his pups and like exploring what he left behind in the city and stuff. The next one I might have to give it to Kapu Cave because even though I really didn't like the mystery, really, I really liked the atmosphere that it gave. Um, Same thing with the last train to Blue Moon Canyon. I really liked the train mystery. It made me think of like, even though I played it when I was younger, it really gave me the train mystery from Adventure Time, or just Clue in general. You're very small space, limited people for what happened. Um, let's see. Da, 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 da. I think Secrets Can Kill will be low on my list. You know what? Danger on Deception Island would be the next because I think it's very similar to vibes, but it was just like kind of plain was the only thing. I'd say it's probably the mid of the game so far. I need to actually make a list next time I beat this. Um, let's see here. Then I would move on to there's Danger by Design, Secret of the Old Clock, um, and Secrets Kill. Okay. I'm probably gonna have to do Danger by Design because of France is one of my biggest locations I really like. So it's kind of like I love the atmosphere, but yet it got overboggled by the mystery and the people and all that. Um, so it's like the worst of the worst were all I talked to. Um, Snootsville is what I would call it with that game. Secret of the Old Clock was a fun idea, but yet it's kind of like I don't know if I'm misremembering, but I'm pretty sure in the first few mysteries I played, it really feels like I remember Nancy having her mother to talk to, but the first few things that this thing hits on is that her mother's been dead since she was young. So kind of like, okay, so we have a little bit of Nancy stuff going on. We got a childhood friend or like a schoolmate or something. And we have a very weird mystery with some pretty cool ideas. It's just the biggest thing was just like, it's an overcomplicated story on top of, very similar to this game, it was repetitive in the action of driving around to make money to do certain things. That was another issue. Um, and then I'd probably do Secrets Can Kill because a lot of those puzzles were very terrible. I mean, of course, it was my first game back into the series, but like like right after that, loved Message in the Haunted Mansion, loved Treasure in the Royal Tower. Just Secrets Can Kill is not one I would remember fondly. And then of course the bottom two. So Carousel and Shadow Ranch, the classics with Treasure, well, Final Scene, Treasure in the Royal Tower, Message in the Haunted Mansion, and The Secrets of the Skylark Hand. Moving on to like atmosphere games with Ghost Dogs at Moon Lake. Yeah, Ghost Dogs, Kapu Cave, Last Train to Blue Moon Canyon. Making sure I'm hitting them all. And then like the first mid game, which was like it's a Nancy Drew game. I feel it. It just doesn't. It feels very bland. Would be Danger on Deception Island. Then kind of going down onto like there are issues with the games, with Danger by Design, cool atmosphere, ideas are there. It's just felt I didn't care to talk to any of the people, and the mystery and some of the puzzles were kind of crappy. Um, Secret of the Old Clock, a lot of stuff happening, cool ideas, too much going on. The like money hunt was terrible. Secrets Can Kill, it's a classic, but it's not a good classic. I'd give it. It's just like the only reason you are not the worst is because you didn't make it like I did. I was in the game, but I didn't care for the game. And then of course I'd actually put. I need to make a. I'm gonna put Shadow Ranch above Haunted Carousel, and for the bottom I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put Blackmore Manor over this game. This is the worst game I've played, just because Blackmore Manor was a cool environment. I really liked a lot of the puzzles. Like after I started kind of getting some of it, it's just the reading was horrendous. The reading and all that was horrendous. I shouldn't be worrying too much about it. I would like to be physical with stuff a lot in a mystery. I'd rather not have to research a lot, which detectives need to research, but yet it didn't have a balance in that game. And then this one was just, I love that you're trying to replicate Shadow Ranch, but you took a crap on it by just having repetitive tasks. It was too easy to understand who it was. So it just didn't feel like a decent mystery for Nancy to be here. And then just to straight up be just like, this situation with the maid thing is so forced upon. But anyhow, I think that's what I'll call it for the day. We'll be doing the technically a second part to Legend of the Crystal Skull, because we did play a little bit of the beginning just to kind of knock it out of the way in the last video of White Wolf. So we will be doing Crystal Skull, and so far I do like the environment. I think this one will definitely be above Secrets Can Kill, but it has to be decent in a mystery. I'm starting to feel it, and I already love it a lot more because we are getting, I think it is Bess. It's either George or Bess. We're getting one of the girly girls to join us in this adventure. I really like a lot of the ones with the Hardy Boys. I like Kapu Cave and I like Blue Moon Canyon because they also have the Hardy Boys in it. They give them extra points in those. But the fact that you actually play as someone that you kind of have a small attachment with because they are supposed to be the best friends of Nancy, you feel that through the games. And when you get to talk to them, it's like, oh yeah, hi Nancy, how you doing? It would be really fun to play as her. I already see it. It was just like, bestie, I did it again. I ran into a mystery yet again. It's like a Scooby and Shaggy thing where it's just like Nancy's the person who wants to be on vacation but always runs into a mystery. But I think she loves the idea of a mystery, but yet she's like, I kind of do want to breathe every now and again. And there's her bestie over there. Hi, how are you doing? I'm over here having fun. How's your vacation over there, Nance? I got knocked out. My life was in danger yet again for the umpteenth time. But anyhow, yes, I think I would say this is maybe a 2 out of 10 for a Nancy Drew game. It's just, I wish they did better with putting more personality in the characters and giving more reason for each one to be a culprit. Especially, I think they were really trying to push some text really wanted Ollie to be it, but it's just like, no. But anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. I will say this now. I did not mention this, but I wanted to say this at the very end, if people who cared about this. I do reactions, and recently Foxymations, who did Fairy Tale, Bon's Burgers, Walton Files-esque ones, where the big bad wolf can come in like Bond, kill a bunch of people. It has a new video. I liked the concept of it because it reminded me of another animation of a sheep and her children, and there's a wolf. But there was a bunch of issues that I was not going to react to it because I'm not going to give that that particular video a view because he's using AI made voices for the sheep. Um, well, he still does the text to speech for the wolf. He does an AI voice for the mother and the seven sheep, and it's supposed to be a prequel to well, it's actually like a sequel but prequel to it's a sequel to the Red Riding Hood part, but it's also a prequel to Hansel coming in and trying to hunt the wolf. Um, and it's kind of show that this is how Hansel came to, like, yes, there was that little thing of like, yes, Red Riding Hood and her entire family were murdered. I'm gonna go investigate it, but it's also there was a tape given to him about the death of this family, and I personally like I would love to promote Foxymations, but there's an issue where AI voices is something. Yes, as a creator, you have to do it every now and again. But like, there's issues that I'm dealing with. There's so many people on Twitch who try to send me like things like, I will, if you pay me like $30, I will make you this. It's all AI created art, and that's an issue of I cannot tell any of these people actually being decent artists versus just going on and doing an AI thing. I'm not an amazing artist. I'm working on my artistic skills to do stuff because I'd like to get into that because I'd always like to draw. But the thing with AI is just there are some tools that are nice to have to make it easier, to make a process not feel so extensive. But when it takes jobs similar to voice actors, or it feels very all right. I want to make something. Here you go. It feels very sloppy. That's what I'm going. You're giving me the slop of the cafeteria, man. And I loved the video. I do, but I don't think it's worth putting out until either he makes like he puts voice acting in it, or until he says something about it. For now, I think that kind of video, any video that like text to speech is also kind of like meh for me, but AI is something I do not support whatsoever, especially with GT. If you have to overly rely on something like that to do something, then you need to get rid of it. Because that means you, as a human being, cannot function without having to use a tool that is taking something to help you, like, learn. You will not learn how to research stuff if you always just say, hey, chat GPT, look this up for me. That is something that needs to die now, early before AI takes over. And if you're using it, it also gives people like the high corporations a reason to use AI in a higher frequency, including like CGI and stuff will no longer have actors or people to animate that, they'll just use AI. You need to kill it in the early stages, like these like tools that people are overly reliant on, and trying to say, hey, no, the human beings need to be able to still do this job, still need to be able to do this kind of progress. Yes, it will suck because you don't want to do it. Yes, I am a procrastinator. I also want to be lazy every now and again. But I think Markiplier said it the best. You are losing potential and wasting your potential if you are not going out of your way to push yourself to do so. You can do it. You should do it because it loses the meaning of what you are doing in the first place. Why would I ask you for a report? Like, if I'm a teacher, I'm not going to ask you for a report because I know you're going to just go back and get a giant copied format. You're not using your own brain and your own research skills to make this. I might as well cut out the middleman and talk to ChatGPT for every single one of the students in that class. It's just something I'm going to say to not go on more of a tangent. Foxy Mations came out with a new one. I'm not gonna react to it. I'm not gonna add more. I'm not gonna link to it. I'm not gonna show more time to it. Just because the AI voice. Maybe at some point I might return to him for reaction, but for right now, it is something that needs to like just be stopped. You know. Uh, anyways, I went on too long enough. We got past the Nancy Drew summary, my thoughts, my things, um, and then that's something that I won't bring that up in other videos. I just wanted to get it off my head. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.